A wise man once said, "Something lost, a part of yourself perhaps. That which you seek, inside you shall find." Now what this means essentially is, you might not be able to jump like Mario, but that doesn't mean you can't be a hero. Or something to that effect. And if there's one thing Nintendo's good at, it's making characters which are strong. They're strong in their own unique ways, such as Fox McCloud or Samus or Link. But today we're not talking about any of those. Today we're talking about Captain Toad. He has no R-Wing, no power suit, not even a sword. All he has are his feet, an oversized bag which causes him to be unable to jump, and the occasional power-up, but you still can't jump. Yeah. Anyway, where's my game? Well, it's fine. It was in the toilet. The f***ing toilet. Why?
You may be surprised to hear that Captain Toad actually debuted in Super Mario Galaxy as the leader of the Toad Brigade, a small group of adventurers who help Mario throughout his journey, mainly by allowing Mario to walk all over their mushroom-shaped spaceship on a few levels. But Captain Toad and the Toad Brigade were a welcome addition to the game, at least in my opinion. They helped make it feel like you weren't just Mario alone in a big scary universe of things out to kill you, but you were part of a team, or a unit of some kind. You had friends along for the ride. The Toad Brigade also appeared in Super Mario Galaxy 2, serving essentially the same purpose. Going forward from this though, Captain Toad never became playable until Super Mario 3D World. A whole 6 years later, who would have thought that this little guy would become so important? And with Super Mario 3D World being an intense level-based platformer, much like New Super Mario Bros. Only with full 3D gameplay rather than 2D, it can be at times stressful, what with all the constant dying due to poison lakes, lava, big spiky piranha plants, and any other breed of crazy obstacles and creatures that exist in the happy-clad nightmarescape that is the Mario universe.
Look how f***ing cute!
It helps when playing a game like this to take the occasional break from the madness. Sure, you could easily go back to the first level and grab all the easily accessible power-ups, and take in all the beautiful greenery and bell-shaped trees, or you could take a gander over to good old Captain Toad for a true breath of fresh air. The Captain Toad minigames take everything you already know about the Mario games in general and totally flips it on its head. Instead of precision platforming and constantly jumping on enemies' heads, you're now fully grounded, unable to jump due to Captain Toad's hefty bag full of treasure and wonders. Although you can still jump on enemies' heads, it's just much more difficult now. At least I think the bag is the reason Captain Toad struggles to jump so much, since the nifty bag is the main distinction between Captain Toad and any of the other playable Toad characters in the game, who have clearly demonstrated that they can jump. But even without jumping, Captain Toad's levels brought something new to the table in the form of a slow, methodical puzzle game, where you had to navigate through levels to collect green stars just by utilising the environment around you. These games were such a hit with the players that Nintendo then took the idea and expanded upon it in quite a substantial way, adding more depth to the levels both in terms of how they look and how they play. So let's take a proper look at the Captain Toad levels found in Super Mario 3D World and go from there, shall we? I think you'll be quite impressed with the differences between these levels and the standalone Captain Toad game.
Now look, Very,
Eh?
I'm not trying to be a dick, but why was Captain Toad in the toilet?
Why would I put your game in the toilet?
I do not know, Very. I do not know.
Go f***ing ask the cat.
I might just do that then.
The Captain Toad levels found in Super Mario 3D World are for the most part contained in a small square area which you can rotate the camera around to see from any angle. I'll talk a bit more about the camera later as it's very interesting, especially in Treasure Tracker, but scoping out the level before beginning can be very useful, and what you'll see is mostly constructed out of slopes, moving platforms and ladders. 3D World's levels stuck with a very blocky aesthetic. I almost want to compare it to Minecraft. It does have a look as though somebody popped a bunch of building blocks on top of each other, but it's a lot softer looking than something like Minecraft, with all the chamfered edges and gaps between blocks. The goal is pretty simple. Usually it's a matter of making it to the top of the level while picking up a bunch of green stars along the way. Easy enough, right? You'll find a few obstacles along the way, as enemies can be found patrolling these levels in various forms, and even they're not above chasing the adorable Toad fellow. They're generally easy to avoid. What I really like about these levels is how you can find these little passageways through the environment, and some can be well hidden. It mixes things up and means things can often be hiding in little nooks and crannies of the level. Remember what I said about this game encouraging you to be slow and methodical? You should relax and take it at a chill pace. Well yeah, that's a very good strategy for this kind of level. Just look around and make sure you haven't missed anything hiding in plain sight.
Now cats, be honest, it was one of you, wasn't it? I don't know what I expected.
Now then, let's finally talk about the main game, shall we? Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. And trust me, there is a lot to cover. Treasure Tracker takes the basic concept and gives it a much grander scale, giving Captain Toad his own story and full adventure. The story begins as soon as you turn the game on, providing you haven't played the game already. You're dropped onto this little starter level, which is essentially a square area with a sort of spiral slope leading upwards, and Toadette is also there signalling you to follow her. So you walk up to the top and find a normal gold power star. Right away this tells you it's already different from what's found in 3D World, as in 3D World you collected green stars. Normal gold power stars signal that this is its own standalone game. So you pick up the star and course cleared. Bravo. Well done. You really did it. Good job. GG. You walked up a hill. Anyway, it cuts back to Captain Toad and Toadette with a star, when suddenly a giant bird with a turban on its head comes out of nowhere to steal your power star. Toadette tries to take it back, but ultimately gets carried off into the distance. This signals the start of Captain Toad, your quest being to rescue Toadette and claim more power stars. From here the game moves to the level menu, which is presented as a book, implying Captain Toad is a story playing out page by page, and I think it's cute. There's little illustrations all over the book showing the events of what's going on, and it overall gives the game a nice feel. So now that you have the gist of the story, let's talk about the levels. Now if you recall in 3D World, the levels were little blocky areas with a simple goal in mind, usually just to get to the top and grab the stars along the way. And this one isn't too different, but the presentation of the levels has completely changed this time around. The first few levels you see sort of trick you into thinking you're getting into the same kind of levels found in 3D World, but they progressively get bigger and crazier with different themes, goals, obstacles and enemies. For example, the first proper level is your typical happy grass area, which is fairly small and simple. Move a bit further down the line, you're on a train outrunning mud monsters and owl things, which ground pound you on your head. Quite the big difference. The first level, for as simple as it may seem, is actually quite genius. It's another example of Nintendo's tried and true method of teach by playing. Just by observing when you get into the level, you'll know you're in for something fresh. At first sight you notice some switches, gems, other toads just chilling out in a big wooden construct in the centre of the level, as well as some little plants that you can pull from the ground. This level teaches you right from the beginning some of this game's key components. Firstly, gems. Gems are the new pickups you'll find all through Treasure Tracker, and they actually work much like the power stars do in Super Mario 64, in that they're used to open up levels, so you need to be sure to collect as many gems as possible. They're some of the most tricky parts of the game due to them being hidden cleverly throughout the levels. Nothing a bit of persistence and the occasional restarting can't solve. Next is switches. Switches appear in various forms throughout the game and serve a wide variety of purposes, all pertaining to the level that they appear in. Not too much to say, but they're a welcome addition. This level also teaches you about interacting with people, since 2 gems are plain in sight, and you can look around as much as you want, but the third gem is nowhere to be seen. In order to get to it, you have to talk to the group of toads who are lazily chilling below a tree. I think this is meant to be the Toad Brigade. A little help would be appreciated, guys. You know, Toadette's only been kidnapped, no big deal. Nope, just a gem. Moving on. This does, however, teach you that certain people you encounter throughout the games will bestow you with random objects, mainly things like gems or keys. Speaking of keys, where there's a key, there's a locked door, and where there's a locked door, there's some goodies locked behind it. Keys can be kinda tricky since you can't climb ladders when carrying any items, and if you leave a key unattended for long enough, it will time out and return to its original place in the map, so you'd have to go back and retrieve it. Most levels try to make the locked door some kind of reward by putting them in a difficult location, and typically behind the door you'd find something like a gem. I like this personally. It just adds to the overall feel of the game by exercising typical game tropes such as a good old-fashioned key chase. The game is not without its fair share of variety. The levels like to mix things up, not just in how they look but in how they're played. Instead of always throwing you into normal levels and being like, star here, switch here, gems here, it'll throw some unique switches and gameplay at you. This game, of course, being on the Wii U, Nintendo loves to make use of the gamepad's screen for some asymmetrical gameplay. Not always, but in particular levels. One of the level types I like are these minecart levels. You start the level like normal, then jump into a minecart and the game suddenly switches gears. The TV will show the normal third person view, looking a lot more cinematic here, while the gamepad switches to the first person view, allowing you to aim turnips, and in this level you pick up items by firing at them. This is also a good time to talk about the challenges. Each level has a challenge you can try to accomplish in order to gain 100% completion on the level. Some can be harder than others. Challenges like find the golden mushroom, don't get spotted by any enemies, or don't take any damage. And even for a game like this, taking no damage can sometimes be a very difficult prospect. Why, bullet bills, why? The minecart levels are a good example of the kind of gaming experience which can only be found on the Wii U, with the gamepad and TV showing two different angles of the same level. But it is used a few other ways in the game, because at any time you can touch the gamepad screen and actually interact with the level, in similar ways to what's found in Super Mario 3D World. Remember these platforms? They're back once again, although in this game they're used in a more of a puzzle-based manner, rather than a platforming manner, as you'd assume. And while I'm on Super Mario 3D World, they also brought back the platforms which move when you blow in the gamepad's microphone. Admittedly, the whole blowing thing Nintendo has tried to push since the original DS isn't really a personal favourite of mine. Stopping mid-game to blow at your control can be a bit silly and kinda disorienting, since it can be difficult to focus on what's actually occurring on screen. It's not bad per se, it's just kind of a pain. But I do appreciate the creativity of Nintendo trying to get the most out of the gamepad. After all, this thing is just packed full of technology. At any time in levels without a fixed camera, you can rotate the gamepad to activate the gyroscope and move the camera. And this is a feature which on paper sounds clever, but put in practice is kinda dumb. After all, how are you meant to play the game when you've turned the gamepad all the way around in an attempt to seem cool by using the motion controls? Now, something you may have noticed when looking at this game is that it's absolutely beautiful. Super Mario 3D World was already a gorgeous game, and this game being built on the same engine is no exception. But Treasure Tracker in particular is spectacular, and I think this is due to its simple nature. Since the levels are so condensed, they could spend more resources on things like fancy bloom effects and shadows, and they are all very welcome. Each level boasting its own unique theme accompanied with lighting choices to complement the overall mood of the level. Supported of course by the typical great sounding Mario music. Certain musical tracks have actually been lifted directly from Super Mario 3D World, but this game isn't without its fair share of original tracks. The Captain Toad theme in particular has a very adventurous vibe to it, while still sounding more quaint and cute. Since I'm talking about levels and their overall design, I feel this is the perfect time to talk about this game's very interesting camera. In Captain Toad, they totally changed the camera. For one, when you move the camera, it's almost like it is stuck on a spherical track, which encompasses the whole level as you're never missing any part of the level. Which is fine, but what's interesting is just how the camera makes the game look. You have the option to zoom in on Captain Toad, but the camera doesn't move. It does just that. It zooms in. And it feels like it. Things still feel like they're distant. It's like you're actually viewing the game from a distance, which contributes to the sort of cinematic look this game has going for it. I think it's due to the camera's place in 3D space. When you zoomed in, objects can still get in the way of the camera, which reminds you that you're just that, zoomed in. It might not seem super interesting to you, but I personally found it to be quite a unique design choice, which made this game stand apart from the rest. Maybe it's just because I'm a 3D nerd. So as I mentioned, Captain Toad's general goal is to make your way through a level, all while picking up gems and power stars, utilising keys, switches, ladders and platforms to counter all obstacles which cross your path. But, in typical Mario fashion, this game isn't absent of good old power-ups. In fact, some are directly carried over from 3D World, namely the Double Cherry, which serves the same purpose it did in 3D World. It duplicates Toad, which allows you to control two, and I have to say, this game took the Double Cherry and really used it in an interesting way. There's this one level I love, appropriately titled Double Cherry Palace, and this level is gorgeous. I'll get that out of the way just now. Having an Arabian palace look to it, accompanied with a grassy maze, and this level essentially forces you to multitask as you control two Toads to try and get them both to the end of the level safely. utilizing your second Toad friend to press switches to help you both proceed onwards, ending with a platform which requires both Toads in order to lift you to the Power Star. It's clever, focused level ideas which make me fall in love with this game. But there are more power-ups along the way. There's still the good old mushroom, which is kind of weird to look at actually. Is this cannibalism? Well. Regardless, this of course serves the same purpose as it always does, making people grow twice their size if they get shrunk down by being attacked. Yes, this game still has the old Small Mario, Big Mario dynamic, although of course here it's Small Toad and Big Toad. So watch out for those enemies. Of course, I don't get hit by enemies because I just like to run away from Shy Guys and watch as they give up and feel disappointed with their lack of athleticism. I almost feel bad. And the best power-up in the game, in my opinion, is the Super Pickaxe. The Super Pickaxe works kinda like the hammer you'd find in Super Smash Bros. It temporarily makes Captain Toad go mental with a pickaxe, annihilating anything that gets in his way. Enemies, walls, even the goddamn plants aren't safe from this thing, and it's all accompanied by this catchy tune. Definitely one of those items which you need to be careful with. You pull power-ups out of the ground, usually via one of these little tufts of grass, and instead of pulling it out in one fell swoop, you have to tug on it 3 times. This signifies that you're pulling out something special. Not necessarily a power-up, could be a key, could be a gem, but prepare for in case it's a super pickaxe. Look at your surroundings and see what can be destroyed, since once it's gone, it's gone. The power-ups are the basis for this game's minigames. Yes, the minigame turned full game has minigames, and they're actually pretty fun. There's a super pickaxe minigame and a double cherry minigame. They both have variants, but both utilize the items in essentially the same ways. Grab it, then proceed to procure as many coins as possible by destroying blocks or pulling up weeds. It's so pleasing to see Toad going apeshit with a pickaxe.
Truly terrifying.
The game's story is actually quite fun. Occasionally you'll progress through the levels enough and get a small cutscene showing Captain Toad sitting by a fire, relaxing, when suddenly you see Toadette being carried off in the distance. Captain Toad notices and panics. He tries to do something, but then realizes he's miles away and instead just has a tantrum. Probably then goes to sleep in his tent, next to all his money. Looks surprisingly cozy actually. These cutscenes don't really add anything to the overall story, but are mainly there to remind you midway through the game exactly what the story is. Remember Toadette? Picked up by the bird wizard? Yeah, me neither. You wouldn't expect it from a game like this, but there are actually boss levels in this game. I call them boss levels and not boss fights because they aren't strictly fights. For instance, there's a level where Captain Toad finds himself stuck in a volcanic area, but he's not alone. Just over yonder, he finds a giant dragon monster, which immediately starts breathing fire in your general direction. You can hide behind objects to defend yourself from the fire, but you can't actually fight back. It's much like a normal level in that there are gems to pick up along the way, some of which take extra effort to collect. They aren't hidden in this level, however. It's more about spending the time to pick them up, all while risking potentially being hit by fireballs or falling into the slowly rising lava. It's a race to the top where you climb one final ladder up to the Power Star, then the platform breaks and falls onto the dragon. Pick up the star, level complete. No fighting, just desperately running for your life is all, avoiding the massive dragon. Not all boss levels are like this though. Take the bird wizard. In this level you need to make your way up to the resting place and then you fight him to retrieve Toadette. And the way you fight him is by throwing classic turnips at him, which then causes him to explode upon swallowing? Mushroom Kingdom food for you, I guess. At this point, Toadette is saved, and you get to bear witness to a gorgeous credit sequence as they backtrack through all the levels Captain Toad struggled through to save his dear friend. But surprise, surprise, the game isn't actually over. Instead, you open up what's called Story 2, which starts off the exact same way as the first story, except this time, Captain Toad gets carried away and now you get to play as Toadette, tasked with rescuing Captain Toad. Toadette plays the exact same as Captain Toad, but you get some fresh levels, which brings some new approaches to level design, such as a totally downhill level, where you have to rotate slides and ride them down to collect all the items. It's one of those levels where if you mess up and take the wrong path, the only way to get that item is to totally restart the level all over again. Actually, this game uses that type of get it right first time or suffer the consequences game design quite often. I'm not sure if that's actually good design. I do like that the game switches gears and allows you to play as Toadette, however. Even though she plays the same, Story 2 somehow feels different. Almost like you owe Captain Toad something. He saved me, now I must save him. And Toadette's just adorable. You get much the same cutscenes with her, but she has her own reactions and different setting for them. And it's just lovely. I know Toadette's technically not female, as Nintendo came out and said Toads are actually asexual, but fuck it, saying she is just much easier. Thanks for opening that kind of confusion, Nintendo. And while we're at it, mind explaining the Koopalings? Ha ha ha! Moving on. Overall, Captain Toad is another unique experience offered by the Wii U. Seriously, the Wii U has shown me so many great gaming experiences over the years, with its unique control scheme and array of ways to interact with games, through motion, touching, or even blowing. And with Captain Toad, this is no exception. It's happy, colourful, clever, and cute, and for some reason it was in the goddamn toilet!
Yeah, that would look good on me. Hello?
Mr. FreeXax!
Who is this?
Oh, seriously? Unlike the Usha. Scott? Terrible YouTuber.
Well, to be fair, there are a lot of those.
Very inconsistent hair.
Yeah, you're not ringing any bells, man.
Garage?
Hey, it's Yusha!
God damn it.
So wait, why are you calling me again?
Game! Toilet!
Oh no. You can't be serious.
Yes, I'm serious. I found a game in the goddamn shitter!
It's spreading.
You mean you didn't do this?
No, tell me, have you had any unexpected visitors come to your apartment, possibly while near a camera?
I mean, a couple times, but I just thought...
It's already too late.
Wait, what do you mean?
It doesn't just stop at the toilet. Next you'll find them in your freezer, and then poof, your laptop will explode into a video game.
Well, I use a desktop.
That's even worse!
Ah!
Hello? Who was that guy?
Thank you for watching this. I'm wanting to get back into doing these little end slate spiels, so let's get to it. First of all, thank you to Verabel and FreeXax for both being in this video. I really appreciate the help. It feels good to be back in the swing of things. Anyway, if you liked what you saw and you want more, why not check out my recent review of Road Trip Adventure? A weird PS2 game where you play as a car and it can have wings. Or if you want to change gears and try something else, why not try watching my vlogs? Check out my recent coffee break. I travelled back to my hometown and recorded the journey. Fun times. Finally, I want to give a big shout out to my patrons on Patreon. I know there aren't a lot of you, but I appreciate the support a ton. It helps motivate me to keep on trying hard, so thank you. Now then, that's all. You can click a link now, or go away. It's up to you really. Or, you know, you could support me on Patreon. Why not? I mean, yeah. It's not like food's important. Thank you for watching.